It's Wednesday, August 7. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. As Jamaica celebrated 57 years of independence on Tuesday, the nation's leaders took the opportunity to reaffirm commitments to freedom and development. Governor General Sir Patrick Allen said that though the country was making some economic gains, this was under threat from social issues such as crime.
Jamaica experienced varying fortunes during the past years. There was cautious optimism about the improvement in the economy, the increasing employment rate, and the construction of the impressive road network. However, the inability to find a permanent solution to crime and violence, the many road fatalities, and the specter of human trafficking have threatened to overshadow the gains we have made. We therefore must renew our efforts to successfully overcome these challenges and maintain our vigilance in seeking success. I urge all Jamaicans to return to the values we know so well, such as respect, honesty, integrity, and patriotism, so that our country can flourish and celebrate many and more prosperous years of independence.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness drew attention to positive shifts in Jamaica's economy, noting lower levels of unemployment and increased housing benefits. He also outlined the government's plans to protect the environment, especially the cockpit country.
We have settled the boundaries of the cockpit country, which was unresolved for decades. In so doing, we considered the particular geological features of the area and the ecology and biodiversity which grows from it and depends on it, the forest and all that live in it. We also consider that the cockpit country is a water bank for Jamaica, storing vast volumes of the precious commodity in caves and caverns beneath it. Based on the technical advice of the experts and after consultations, the boundary of the area to be protected was decided. This is an important step in protecting this critical national asset for generations to come and ensures that there will be no mining or any other activity that could harm the environment in the protected area.
The Prime Minister also outlined steps to stem corruption.
Ultimately, however, government must act in due process. And this government has acted. We have acted to separate those accused from the institution in order to create the space necessary for investigation and discovery. We have acted to review and identify systemic weaknesses that allowed the corrupt act in the first place and make the necessary changes to prevent occurrences. We have acted to facilitate the work of the independent investigative and oversight bodies. There must be no cover-up so that the strongest cases can be brought to the courts. And we have acted to build a culture of enforcement of the law.
Opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips highlighted challenges facing the country, but also stressed Jamaica's indomitable spirit and culture.
I continue to believe in our capacity and potential as a people to successfully overcome the challenges that we face. It is that indomitable spirit that overthrew British colonialism. It is that indomitable spirit that laid the foundations of our independence. It is that creative and powerful capacity of our Jamaican people that has made us a cultural powerhouse across the world and has caused our athletes like Shelley and Fraser Price to overcome all challenges.
Jamaica and the Republic of Kenya have signed 4 agreements which will facilitate collaboration in sports, culture, tourism, among other things. The signing followed a bilateral meeting between Prime Minister Andrew Holness and President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, at the office of the Prime Minister on Monday.
As we have said earlier, Prime Minister, one sure way of ensuring that we deepen the partnership between our two countries is to encourage greater economic partnership between our two countries, to develop and to deepen trade We had looked at our numbers and we have seen that this trade is almost non-existent. We need to deepen our economic relations, because it's by so doing that we also take our people-to-people relations to the next level. Kenya today is one of the largest and most diversified economies on the African continent, and it also serves as a hub for logistics, air transport, financial services, ICT innovations. And here again, we encourage Jamaican investors as much as Prime Minister Holness was encouraging Kenyan investors to come together through our respective chambers and to take advantage of the opportunities.
The documents signed are a framework agreement on cooperation and 3 memoranda of understanding (MOU) on collaboration in the fields of sport, culture and heritage, political consultations and cooperation in the area of tourism. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is imploring the nation's farmers to incorporate science and technology into their farming practices in order to continue to increase the country's agricultural output. Speaking at the 67th staging of the Dembe Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show at the Dembe Showground in Maypen, Clarendon on Tuesday, he suggested that the Jamaica Agricultural Society could use its influence with farmers to ensure the adoption of more innovative methods of farming. Further emphasizing the importance of protecting the environment, Mr. Holness called on farmers to desist from using long-standing agricultural practices such as the slash-and-burn technique, particularly in watershed areas. This practice, he said, has resulted in these areas being denuded. The Prime Minister had toured the grounds with President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, and his delegation, who are in the island for a 3-day state visit. In his remarks, President Kenyatta, who is also a dairy farmer, said he was pleased to have participated in a, quote, premier agricultural show not only in Jamaica, but also in the Caribbean, end quote. The Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees, UCASE, wants legislative changes that will make it mandatory for all workers to contribute to a pension scheme. In an interview with RJR News, UCASE President Vincent Morrison said this would be similar to the National Housing Trust, NHT, where it is compulsory for workers to contribute. He says less than 20% of the 1.3 million labor force has a pension scheme. Mr. Morrison said the government could also borrow money from the proposed pension scheme for infrastructural development. However, he said strong policies and leadership will be needed to govern the scheme to prevent mismanagement. More than 100 Jamaicans are down to be conferred with national honors and awards. The recipients will be formally recognized at a ceremony on National Heroes Day, October 21. Dancehall artist Sean Paul, whose given name is Sean Henriquez, has been conferred the Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander for his contribution to the global popularity and promotion of reggae music. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Jang is also the recipient of the Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander for public service in the area of politics. Other recipients include Dr. D.K. Duncan and Dr. Andre Franklin for service to the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, Christopher Daring for contribution to banking and finance, telecommunications and sports marketing, and CEO of the National Environment and Planning Agency Peter Knight for his contribution to health sector and environmental planning. Dr. Rita Marley, who steadfastly developed her husband's legacy into a multi-million-dollar brand, has been awarded the Order of Jamaica in this year's National Honors and Awards, announced yesterday by the Jamaican government. The OJ is the country's 4th highest honor, and Marley, widow of reggae legend Bob Marley, leads a case of entertainment industry veterans who have been awarded the Order of Distinction, Jamaica's 5th highest honor. Rita Marley gained international recognition with the I3, Marley's Harmony Group, in the 1970s. When he died in 1981, she resurrected her solo career and recorded well-received albums like Harambe, as well as the song of the same name and the Ganja anthem One Draw. Mrs. Marley has meticulously overseen the Marley estate, which has earned millions of dollars from music sales, merchandising, and publishing. In regional news, police are investigating the death of a 27-year-old Guyanese whose body was found on a beach in Christchurch, Barbados on Monday. The police said the body of Anastasia Natasha Angel had been seen near the water's edge and that it was subsequently pulled onto the shore. The authorities have not indicated whether the woman was a visitor to the island for Crop Over Festival, which ended on Monday, but are treating her death as unnatural. Media reports said that the body was found behind a guest house and close to a hotel. Also in news from the region, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves and opposition leader Goodwin Friday have noted the right of persons to challenge the laws that criminalize buggery. Both leaders expressed their views separately following a recent court challenge by a same-sex Venetian couple. Mr. Gonsalves says the matter deserves to be ventilated in court.
Or a male buggering a female, it will be covered under the existing provisions, that those provisions are unconstitutional. That's the case which is now brought, that you should be allowed to do what you want in the privacy of your home once it's among consenting adults. People should have their day in court and the matter be ventilated and the court must pronounce. Clearly, the gay and lesbian community have decided internationally and regionally, and I'm making this comment in an objective manner. I'm not making any comment other than objective. I'm not expressing a view. They've clearly decided to test the constitutionality of these laws.
For his part, the opposition on Friday said the legal challenge is not surprising. However, since the matter is before the courts, he said he would reserve judgment. Last Thursday, islands across the region celebrated Emancipation Day. We'll take a look at Antigua and Barbuda, the first country in the Caribbean to become emancipated.
Such as feigning illnesses, committing suicide and doing work at a slow pace. Other forms were economic, such as burning crops and damaging machinery. And when these methods failed, slaves would then turn to physically taking their freedom through revolts. Omar explains the most popular form of active resistance here in Antigua, the 1736 rebellion led by Prince Class.
Africans in this country organized in such a way as to overthrow the bondage of enslavement at one level, and two, to actually take control, physical control of this country.
A century later, our ancestors refused to sit quietly. In 1831, just 3 years before emancipation, another revolt ensued.
The European establishment moved in 1831 to legally outlaw the Sunday markets. And that led clearly to an eruption among enslaved people. It led to those riots, and again.
Eventually, the riots were suppressed due to the European superior arms. However, 3 years later, our island was the first country in the Caribbean to become emancipated.
In sports, we bowl off with cricket as India beat West Indies by 7 wickets at the Guyana National Stadium in Providence on Wednesday to complete a clean sweep of T20 International 3-match series. Rain delayed the concluded match by an hour, but there was no stopping India, who had clinched this series with back-to-back wins in Florida on the weekend. They won the opening match by 4 wickets and the second by 22 runs on the DLS method. And in the world of athletics, world and Olympic champion Elaine Thompson led 3 of 4 Jamaicans into the finals of the 100-meter event as track and field got underway at the Pan American Games in Villa Deportiva Nacional in San Luis, Peru yesterday. Thompson and Natasha Morrison in the women's and Rashid Dwyer in the men's all advanced, while O'Shane Bailey was eliminated at the first round. Thompson, the joint world leader in the 100 meters, hardly broke a sweat as she ran her semi-final in 11.36 seconds, while Morrison was second in her semi in 11.59, behind Trinidad's Michelle Lee Ai in 11.37 seconds. Dwyer, the Pan Am Games 200-meter record holder, was second in the third men's semi-final in 10.32 seconds behind Brazil's Paulo Andre Camilo, who won with 10.29 seconds. Bailey was fifth in the first semi-final in 10.43 and did not advance. And that's the news on PBCJ. Thanks so much for watching.